Okay, good morning team. Today I am going to explain you how to compile the panels. The panels which are written in DTL. DTL stands for Dialog Tag Language. So Dialog Tag Language is an advanced version of your Rex panels. Rex panels which are used for having an user interface when you execute a Rex program. So these DTL are internally converted to DTL are internally converted to your Rex panels using an compiler called as ISPDTLC. Okay, so this is the overall flow. Okay, your DTL language will be converted to Rex panel and it is converted using your ISPDTLC. That is your option 18 under your ISPF dialogues. Option 18 under your ISPF dialogues. So I will repeat it again. Open your ISPF panel. Okay, go to option 4, that is your foreground interactive language processing. Hit and enter here. Then you will find option 18. Okay, so I am giving option 18 now. So when I open option 18, okay, so option 18 will give you some of the list. Let me show it again. So option 18, under option 18 you have to give your source library. Source library is a library, it is a PDS dataset with 88,000 as your record length. Okay, so this PDS dataset will be containing your DTL tags and the DTL language written inside it, inside a PDS member. So I have internally created for my understanding a PDS which is ending with ISPF. Okay, second you have to give your destination dataset which is also a PDS, and destination dataset which is also a PDS, and this dataset will be containing the panels. So the DTL member which is written in the first dataset ending with ISPF will be converted to a panel and will be stored inside a dataset which is ending with dot panel. Okay, and the third dataset is to capture the messages and the warnings which are created during compilation. Okay, so there are three datasets which we have to create and give it here under quotation, single quotes. Okay, after this you have to hit enter. Then your tool will list the, if there are any existing details already written, it will list you here. So there are some of the details which I have already written. So the tool is listing all the details which I have written under this name. So these are individual. When you open this dataset in 3.4 separately, you will find the names given here as the your PDS members. So these are your PDS member names. Okay, so in this I am going to show you one example. The DTL name is DF DXEMP21. Okay, DFDXEMP21. So let me open this separately first before doing a compilation. I'm opening it in 3.4. So from this screen you can directly go to 3.4 by using your start 3.4. So 3.4 is an option given under ISPF where you can browse or edit your datasets. So my dataset is already opened here, that is ISPF. So I am using an enter again, and I will give option E. Option E stands for edit. So I'm giving option E and hit enter, then use your F. F stands for find button. Find, which is an internal search which will list you the required member. So I am giving F space the member name. Member name starts with DFT XMP21. So when I use the enter button again, so it is listing me this member. Now I am using option V to view this member. Okay, so here you can see, here I have to use high DTL, okay, which will highlight your DTL language keywords. Okay, so whatever you are seeing here in red are your predefined DTL language keywords. One of the keyword is your doc type, document type. Okay, one keyword is your entity, one keyword is your panel. Okay, so this one more keyword is your area. Okay, so to understand what language you are using, we have an option under your profile called as highlight. Under your profile there is an option called as highlight. Here you can see highlight. So it will highlight the written language keywords. Suppose you are using JCL. Okay, then you will write hi JCL, which will highlight all your JCL keywords so that your coding will be easy. Okay, so how to close this? Use RES, it will close your profile. So this is a simple DTL language I have used. Okay, and here you can see action bar and var_defs. Okay, so these two things are again individual your PDS members, okay, stored under your ISPF dataset, or you can store it in a different dataset and include it while you compile. So why this is used is, this concept is similar to your catalog procedures inside your JCL, where you are storing the procedure as a separate member of PDS and you are trying to call it inside your calling job. So what I have done here is, these two members I have kept separately and I have called it here with and parameter, and in your JSON is a symbolic parameter. Here we are using and to call the entities. So one entity var_def I have called, there is one more entity and ACTN I have called it. Okay, so these are the two things I'm calling here. So whatever is there inside this member will be fetched here, and whatever is there inside this member will be fetched here. So this is an overview, just I'm telling. Okay, so I'll try to show these entities also to have an small amount of overview. Again I'm using find and control V. Now you can find it here, var_def. Can use ref here, refresh, and you find and give your ACTN bar, which is your first member. I'm opening it in view mode. So see, this is one of the entity member which has your file, add entry, delete entry, update entry. Okay, then exit view. Okay, so AB stands for your action bar. Similarly, I have one more entity, WARDF. So WARDF has your titles. One is your title, author, publisher, pages, and the current date. So these two entities, I am including it inside my panel. So your part of your these two entities and panel all are part of this PDS itself. So my panel name is DFT XMP21. Okay. So these three things are there inside your ISPF, that is your source file. Now I will try to show you the panel dataset where these have been internally converted into the panel definition after compilation. If you open this dataset in view mode, okay, you can find DFDXMP21. Okay, so that small code which is of some 10 to 15 lines has been internally converted into your X panel. So you can see here these are some of the coding standards when you code a X panel. Okay, it starts with the open brace and all. So this internally the compiler is doing all this stuff. Okay, so this is one panel which is internally created, and okay, so your entities are not converted into panels when you use the word entity. Okay, those are used, entity is used only to store some data and use it in different panels. So you can see the compiler has not converted your entity into a panel here. It has only used your main panel and converted it into a panel here in this dataset. So now I am trying to explain you how I will compile this. So before running any panel, you should make sure that the panel name is stored under and system defined dataset. Okay, suppose this is the panel which is already converted by the compiler. Now if you want to run this panel should be stored in a dataset, system defined dataset. Okay, and that dataset name will vary according to the project which you are working. So in general, the dataset name for your learning LPAR or the learning system will be user.isplib. Okay, user.isplib. So if you open this dataset, you have to copy or store the panel which is created under panel dataset here. So I have already copied it. Okay, so it will be here. Now from here I am directly taking you to the compiler. This is the compiler. Let me show you again how to compile it now. So under your ISPF we have an option called as your foreground, that is option 4. So I'm using option 4. So I'm using option 18. It will list me all the members stored in my source dataset. So I have to use enter here. So in this I am selecting only one member which I want to compile. So that is DFDXMP21. So use your put your cursor here, select it by yes and hit enter. After that your tool is giving you an option saying that use an end keyword to start conversion processing. So at the command prompt I will type END and use my enter button. So now it is compiling your DTL and it will display you if there are any errors in the existing DTL, and it will give you the warnings. So whatever errors and warnings you are seeing here in red color, all will be stored under the message dataset. Okay, so you can see there are 8 warnings in the code written and there are 0 errors found. Okay, so hit your enter. Now your data set is internally stored. Your member is internally stored in a data set called as panel is a data set. So here it is copied here. You can see the date of the date has been changed from 14 to 16 now, and the time is around system time. It will show 8:11:14. Okay, and the user is the Rakaf ID IBM user. So now once it is copied here from this data set, by using an C option you have to copy it under your user.isplib in this dataset and use the enter button to copy it. So it is already stored. So now I will show you how to execute the panel. So again we have to come back to your ISPF. After coming to your ISPF, now you are using your option 7 called as dialog test. Okay, dialog test. So use option 7 here. So in this it is saying you to test your functions, test your panels. So I am using option 2 to test the panel. So here you have to give your panel name. My panel name is DFTXMP21. Now as soon as I use my enter button, this panel will be displayed. It will also display the entities which have been copied from your PDS member into the panel. So I am using my enter button now. So this is what the panel we have designed called as library inventory, and this is the top message I am giving, and this is your action button which will pop down some of the actions here. Please join my YouTube channel called as Mainframe World, where you can find all these videos. Thank you.